mental toughness, right? There's resiliency and goal setting. I think I used this example last year, but I'm going to go back to it again because it's the best way to think about the power of your goals. I would say goals and thoughts are very small things. And I find it easy for people to disregard the power of very small things. And a domino is a perfect example of this. Does anybody know how tall a domino is? Rudy, how tall is a domino? Sure. So Rudy thinks a domino is 8 inches, right? Let's play. Dominoes are 2 inches. There you go. Now, a domino, though, is an interesting, small piece of material because it has the contained kinetic energy to knock over an object that is 1.5 times its size. So if you were to line up a string of dominoes, and each domino was 1.5 times the size of the one in front of it, the first few aren't going to look that impressive. But at the 24th domino, you were at the height of the Empire State Building. At the 31st domino, it would be higher than Mount Everest. They have to fall sequentially. That's why I love bringing up dominoes, because the curse of the novice that I constantly see when it comes to setting goals is that they recognize that there's steps that need to be taken along the way, and they see the first domino and they see the last one. But instead of kicking off the first domino, they walk past it and they walk over to Mount Everest and they push against it as hard as they can. And it doesn't go anywhere, so they quit and they move on to something else. They have to fall sequentially. The advice I give people is to set your goals at a macro level. Aim for Mount Everest, and then focus all of your time on a micro level. The domino that's in front of your face that you need to knock over right now, that can get the momentum rolling so you can knock the next domino over. It's a difference in thinking of, can anybody here run a 4-minute mile? Because if you can't, I hate you. Nobody can? So, who said 4 what? 4, yeah, perfect. I'm more in line with that, yes. You know, how long did they say the 4-minute mile was impossible? Long time. How many people broke a 4-minute mile after it was done the first time? Quite a few. It's still an amazing accomplishment. Like I said, I truly do it from the bottom of my heart. Hate people that can do it, but it's still an amazing accomplishment. But if you were to task me or task anybody in this room, like, hey, you need to run a 4-minute mile, think about this just in the power of your thought. Do you think you'll be more or less successful as you think of it as 4 1-minute 400s or that 4-minute clock spooling away? Which one would you rather take? The 4-minute or the 4 1-minute 400s? So BUDS is 180 days long. You think it's easier to look at BUDS as a 180-day program or seeing the sunrise once 180 times? Which one's going to give you more success? A day at a time, right? Hell Week inside of BUDS. It's the 5th week of training, and it is where probably 70% of the attrition is going to occur in the program. It starts on a Sunday night. It ends on a Friday afternoon. If you can see the sunrise on Wednesday, they say you got a good chance of making it. Easier or harder to look at it as 1 week or realize they have to feed you every 6 hours and focus on making it from one meal to the next, which is some of the best advice I ever got in my career, and that is the strategy that I used. But if that doesn't work, how about you just make it through the evolution that you're in? If that doesn't work, how about you just make it through the minute in time that you need to get through until you make it to that meal? When I was a BUDS instructor, my goal was to get people to think big. And I did not want to go back as a BUDS instructor, but I'm very grateful that I did. I actually found it to be one of the most rewarding tours of my career for a couple reasons. One, it was way more fun than being a student, right? There's 2 sides of the coin to being a student. One is where you're laying on your back doing flutter kicks and a dude drinking coffee is pouring water up your nose with a hose. The other side of that coin is being the dude with the hose, with the coffee. I'll take that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But to be a good instructor, you have to know what the other guy feels like as well. So what I did, because I loved making people quit, because I don't like working with pussies, would I was go and I would try to make people think that their world was as big as humanly possible. So in Hell Week, all instructors have to work through and rotate a Hell Week shift. And I would go, and I would usually go after the officers first. And I would sit there, and all of my job was to try to get in between their ears and be like, hey, how long can you be this cold? Can you be this cold for a week? Because I'm on duty, and it's me and you, buddy, and I'm not leaving you alone. And their goal is to think as small as possible. And to think about me talking to them in that moment, they know I have to leave. There's like 120 students in class, and I'm not that original, so I'm going to say the exact same thing to every one of them until I see that it's having an impact, and I can get them to doubt how long they can be cold, and then it's game on until they're no longer in training. And then I go to the next person, and the next person, and the next person. And people think that's mean, but the job that I came from, we don't give awards for second place, all right? Second place finisher is usually in a flag draped coffin getting carried by their best friends. And I'm not interested in that, and I'm not interested in anybody having to experience that. So we play to win. A lot of people here in the strength and conditioning world, and probably a lot of you, by show of hands, who here is a trainer? Cool. You're going to have people who come to you, and they're going to want to set their goals, and they're probably going to want to lose some weight. But when I owned a gym, I had people who would come, and they would want to lose 100 pounds or 150 pounds. You want to talk about a monumental task? There's one right there. And if the only thing that person can think about is that huge number, which is what I tried to get them to stop doing, they're probably going to fail. What I would get people to focus on is you need to lose 1 pound at a time, or you need to lose an ounce at a time until you get to a pound, and then it'll be 2 pounds and 4 and 6, and the dominoes are going to continue to fall, and we're going to celebrate every ounce along the way. One is a goal-setting strategy for success. I'm not saying you won't be successful if you focus only on the big number. I'm saying you're less likely to be successful. And I can't give you any numbers behind that. It's purely anecdotal. A lot of people want to be millionaires, or a lot of people are in debt. And I see people focusing on, I got to make $1 million, or I got to pay off 50 grand in credit card debt. Make it a buck at a time. Stop staring at the difference between what you have and where you need to go, and focus just on putting $1 on top of the dollar until you get where it is you want to be. Don't get overwhelmed. That's what I'm trying to say. Approach your goals from a digestible perspective and understand and accept that micro failures are going to happen. That's okay. Just be resilient, right? What we talked about, you're going to bounce back stronger because you're going to be comfortable being in that position because you're going to seek those uncomfortable things. And you're going to ensure macro success because I don't care about micro failure. I care about macro failure. So macro goal, micro laser-like focus, and keep the dominoes falling. I find out as a man who I am when I'm grinding, when I'm in the valley, in my lowest points, working my way towards a goal. And I also, because I believe in innovation and evolution, if you get yourself to a peak, get a set of binos out and find another peak, and then start working your way towards that. Because if you don't, you're going to get passed by just like Blockbuster Video. You figure out who you are in the space between your goal and the achievement of that goal. And you're going to encounter adversity. And there's really only 2 ways that you can take it. You can take it as a roadblock, or you can take it as a motivation. And nobody in this room can convince anybody else how to do that. It's a choice that has to be made individually. You can show them the way, but be very cautious wanting more for people than they want for themselves. Only the person can decide.